Greetings, my beautiful film connoisseurs, and welcome to NFFFP Bites, the show where we explore what happens when the entertainment we consume with our mind mouth becomes the entertainment we consume with our mouth. Yeah, we're keeping it. We're keeping it in. In this episode, we will be enjoying a recipe based on the 1975 British rock opera Tommy, which is itself based upon the 1969 concept album Tommy by The Who. But what's the name of the band? The band that recorded Tommy. Yes, the band that recorded Tommy. The Who. Who? You got it. Thank you so much. This means so much to me. I remember back to my days as a young boy working as a stagehand in vaudeville, and I was in the Branson area, and well, one day Bud Abbott came through, and after the show he looked at me and he said, I'll never forget what he said. He said, someday it's going to be you on first and me on second. And I don't know, we'll still be on third. And then he gave me 2 nickels in exchange for a quarter, and I used that money to buy my first joke book. And that's what got me here to what? Oh yeah, what? Why do I have to? It's my kitchen. Where are you taking me? The recipe we're working with today is a very iconic, traditional British recipe. It's called beans on toast. And because it's very traditional, it's important to get all of the details right, especially on your first attempt. You don't want to substitute any ingredients. You want to do it exactly as it's written to avoid, of course, offending anyone's cultural sensitivities, and also just to make sure that you get the flavors as intended. Like a lot of YouTube cooking channels, I try to rely on the best expertise, especially when doing a cultural recipe. So I had Vern pull this beans on toast recipe from a cookbook by the famous chef Kenji Lopez Alt. What? Oh. I'm being told it was not a cookbook by Kenji Lopez Alt, but a book called Alternatives to Cooking. Nevertheless, as soon as I got home from a recent trip to Vietnam, I asked Vern to email me the recipe so I could get prepared, and I'm just gonna read off some of the very basic things from that recipe to you to make sure you get every detail right. Now, it's a very simple recipe, but simple recipes can be tricky if you don't get the basics right. And that starts with your bread. And I'm just going to read from the email I got from Vern. First steps for beans on toast. First thing, the bread. He says from the recipe, you toasted lump of flavorless sliced white bread. You. Now, to be honest, I didn't have any pre-sliced flavorless white bread at home to toast, so I just baked a loaf of sourdough on my own and sliced it up nice and like that. I also don't have a toaster, so it won't be toasted. And the recipe also says it should be buttered. I forgot to take my butter out of the freezer. It's too hard to spread right now, but but it's fine. It's fine. Next ingredient, beans. Heinz. Boom. Like I said, it's important to get the ingredients right. Follow the recipe, no replacements. Heinz beans, right here. Yep. All right, beans on toast. Let's get started, okay? Now, you got your Heinz beans. You notice it has a tab for easy opening. These are beans and tomato sauce. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. Oh, look at that. A lot of sauce there, huh? Well, this will be interesting. Okay, I'll set that aside. Get the bread, and let's get started. Vern, I'm gonna just scoop a little bit, but I'd like to get an action shot in here. Can you switch to the GoPro and let's get some close-up angles? My trusty spoon out, and oh, look at that! Look at those beans. Can't wait to put that on the toast. Okay, you got it. Okay, we're gonna switch cameras now so you can get a real dramatic look at what's happening on this toast.
All right, I'm just going to shake a few beans here and we'll discuss the recipe and the film Tommy. First order of business, beans and toast should not be confused with the full English breakfast, which you can see in this picture right here, which was taken at a bed and breakfast in the town of Horley in Surrey on the morning of Friday, September 21st, 2018, between the hours of 7:30 and 9 a.m. Okay, now beans, in particular Heinz beans in tomato sauce, have quite the history with The Who, not only featuring prominently in the film Tommy, but also in their 1967 album The Who Sell Out. As for Tommy, both the film and album tell the story of a young boy traumatized into silence after witnessing the murder of a close relative. It is only eventually through the game of pinball and, of course, Heinz beans that he is able to recover, find his voice, and, quite naturally and expectedly, lead a very groovy 1970s religious cult movement based around pinball. If you've heard any song from this collection, it's probably Pinball Wizard, told from the perspective of a pinball champion who loses his crown to a, quote, deaf, dumb, and blind kid who sure played a mean pinball. In the film, this scene is played by Sir Elton John in 4.5-foot tall boots. Coincidentally, at the time of the song's release, pinball was actually illegal in most U.S. major cities, and had been for a long time, as it was associated with gambling and organized crime going back to the Great Depression. There were even Prohibition-style raids, where politicians would pose happily in front of cameras breaking down pinball machines. But by the time Tommy got released on film, the movement to legalize was well underway, and I'd like to think that we have beans on toast to thank for that. Especially you, Heinz Beans. Thanks so much.
And there you have it. Beans on toast. As simple as it is elegant. Let's have a taste. All right, this is hundreds of years of British tradition right here on my table. It's got to be worth it, right? Okay. Beans on toast. Here we go. Okay. It's a soft bean, easy to chew. Probably better for the elderly and small children. That's good. Safety's good. Not as much tomato coming through as I thought there might be, but it's there. It's definitely there. Not as acidic as it could be. That's good. You get your carbs, you get your protein. Yeah, give it a try. It's worth it. Beans on toast. As they say in England, bon appétit. Enjoy, everybody.
The Heinz Corporation had no direct involvement in any part of this video. But hey, if you're watching, give me a call, Heinz. Let's make a deal. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, no, no. No, I'm just at home polishing my beans, you know. Oh, I've got company. Sorry. I have to go. Sorry, didn't see you walk in there. Boy, we have a lot of fun, don't we? But today, we breached a subject that's, well, it's quite a serious matter, and I'd like to just sit and rap with you for a little bit. Okay. Now we've been enjoying these beans and these recipes, but this brings up an issue that's really something we need to talk about. And that's um just let me just nope. How does how do,
Beans. You have just witnessed an obscene amount of beans cascading upon my kitchen counter, and I wish to reassure you that the counter was properly sanitized before the production of this video, and all of the beans are still edible. In fact, many of them have already been consumed by yours truly, and the remainder will continue to be consumed by yours truly as members of my household remain safely on the far opposite side of the nearest mountain range. Here in the northern hemisphere, the months that bring the year to a close are largely consumed by autumn, harvest, and the holidays relating to this time of year tend to bring friends and family together to share elaborate meals. For many people out there facing issues with food insecurity, however, the colder months bringing about the close to the year can be a particularly difficult time. And until the proletariat rise, and we are finally able to feed the poor with the flesh of the billionaires of the world, with fava beans and a nice Chianti, it falls on us common folk to ensure the equitable distribution of the provisions available to us. To this end, I have volunteered a threefold return of the money I've wasted on beans for this video to be distributed to local charities here where I live in
North America.
that deal with the issue of food insecurity and its various underlying causes. You can find links to these charities in the description below, and feel free to give them a helping hand if you like, or better yet, find reputable charities near you that help distribute food and combat food insecurity in your own areas.
And hey, if you got a spare can of beans and happen to live near a little free pantry like this one, all you gotta do is walk over and drop them off. Here we go. What? Who put all these books in here? You just walk over and drop it off. And if you don't have a little free pantry, ask about getting one started. Can't be that hard. As my favorite flannel philosopher always used to say, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. Keep your stick on the ice. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Quando omni fluncus moritate. It's time for the Possum Lodge word game.